Well, we've seen really great execution, from all the players in this tournament. So even if they don't manage to win, I think that they'll keep on playing. It's a great community, and we've seen some really nice people.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sportsmanship here. And of course, we are running the standard mode here. So you see both of our runners off to a start, picking up the shield. One of their items they'd normally get in just a second, but of course we are randomized. And in this particular version of standard, we have that you'll be getting a weapon from Uncle. Now, I'm a bit confused by Pokedude.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit hung up on the bushes there, but he's...
Well, no, isn't it supposed to be raining?
I didn't notice it was raining, but I did notice that cane of Samaria.
Yeah, all right, I mean, the items are the same so far. Maybe there's something about this mode I don't know. Forgive my ignorance there. But in either case, we've got a very early cane and one of the more interesting weapons to get. You get the magic fill there because, well, you're going to need to use the thing. And so you got very unique uses. You can place blocks, throw them as a weapon, explode the blocks. You get a 4-directional weapon that way. So it's going to be definitely a spectacle, and hopefully one that both of these runners can pull off.
You're absolutely right, Epi. You can clearly see it on Pokedude's side now that there's no rain. It's a nice, clear, sunny day in Hyrule. The guard's on duty, so we're definitely in traditional escape. Pokedude does not look like they want to go into escape at this point. They're farming bombs off the green guards, but did not pick any up.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's going to be some time lost there, but it's a this early in the race, it's a prudent thing for them to do. And yeah, it looks like what we have is some. Okay, well, they seem to be aware of the issue here and attempting to correct. We'll see. Well, and literally, we'll see.
Well, this is actually interesting for me because I never really played around with the overlays. Get to see how they work now. So
yeah, we're getting the inside scoop here
for the tutorial.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be taking the time to address this because they were having a couple of things that were going to be detrimental for them. So meanwhile, we do have MegaPatches picking up a potion out of the chest here. It's the first bottle. It means one more thing they can do when they get the Kakariko and go into Sick Kid.
Absolutely. I definitely like it when runners pick up a bottle early. That's the bottle fetch quest. And they have the bottle, of course, gives them a little early game safety. Came with a free red potion. Definitely a plus. But being able to get that fetch quest done out of the way early rather than have to forget it is, it's always an issue. Have you ever seen races that came down to progression being on Sick Kid and they just didn't see it?
I don't know if I remember it being Sick Kid specifically, but definitely there's been those one locations plenty of times, and I should think Sick Kid is not immune.
Pokedude making the wisest choice to disable rewind on his emulator. That's that's definitely something that we do not want to see in a tournament race.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate hang-up for him. In the meantime, MegaPatches has made quick work of the Ball and Chain Trooper, using the pod strategies to get through that a bit. And then also some Samaria.
As useful as the Cane of Samaria is with magic conservation and farming the rats and the green guards, it just doesn't have the stopping power that those huge heavy clay pots do.
Yeah, those do tempered sword damage, and you don't really notice that until you're fighting something tough like the Ball and Chain Trooper. And it looks like Pokedude is taking control of their controller again.
Yeah, the Cane of Samaria it's kind of a mixed blessing. It is easy to farm bombs with, and Mega has been diligently making that attempt and just hasn't picked any up yet. Both are runners. They want to find at least one bomb so they can check the last 3 items in the escape sequence without having to backtrack later. It's very rare that we have randomized prize pools, but it's very rare that you're not able to find at least one bomb. Mega was fortunate, and he picked up a large magic refill, so he's able to walk directly past the small magic refills in the sewers here. So Epi will be back in just a moment. I will try to keep you guys entertained here. So, question for Chad here. There's not too many folks in the room, but there's enough that you can do a little research project for me here. I'm curious about Pokedude14. I'm gonna have to ask him later about his name, but I want to know if that's just the name that he likes, or were there 13 Pokedudes that came before him on Twitch? So if anybody wants to go do that research for me, I'll definitely be appreciative. So we see over here on MegaPatches' side, he did not find a bomb. Went through the whole escape sequence, farmed, did an excellent job farming, killed rats, snakes, bats, green guards. Just didn't get a bomb. It is possible that there just are no bombs in the prize pool for these enemy types. He's going to have to come back to escape. If he ends up picking out the power glove, then he's going to be able to come in through the graveyard. But if he doesn't find the glove, he's going to have to walk all the way through the escape sewers again. That's a little bit unfortunate. But if it's simply a prize pool issue and not bad luck, then Pokedude is going to be in the same situation. So at least they'll break even on time.
Yeah, wow, that's unusual enough. Apologies, I dropped out there for a sec.
Welcome back.
Thank you. And yeah, it looks like I missed the end of escape here, and no bombs, you say? That's
no bombs.
Yeah, that's a tough break. Meanwhile, Pokedude is back on the trail, and good for him. Shame to get held up by some emulator issues, but I guess a few too many things were randomized, huh?
Pokedude is in full glorious 720p, 256 colors, all of them on the screen at the same time. So it looks like everything's working on his side now.
Yeah.
We saw MegaPatches take a look at the tree pull prize, which is the tier 2 one for killing 4 or more enemies and having taken damage in the escape, and that was just green rupees. So. We're not going to be doing any tree pull farming.
Yeah, certainly not. Let's see what our hoarder has. Looks like arrow packs.
Arrow packs are definitely nice to have early on, but most likely by the time they get the bow, they'll be full up on arrows.
Yeah.
We got a 5 bomb upgrade in the Thief's Hideout.
Yeah, and we had the blue mail on the lumberjack. Yeah, I mean, this early when you don't have a sword, being able to carry extra bombs is nice, but you're definitely looking for, well, a sword. And we have a
vanilla mushroom.
Yeah, the mushinest mushroom. How about that? And so we'll see just when our runners decide to route that in. It'll probably depend a thing or two on when they get the flute or otherwise need to get over to that side of the world.
Yeah, unless they're blocked for progression, that's not something that you're going to likely see a separate trip for. It'll either be a flute, which will take you right there, or maybe, if they get the mirror and they're doing some Dark World routing, they'll hop over to Light World. MegaPatches took an interesting route there. You don't typically see someone come into Kakarika from the left side. If you have bombs, it's convenient. You can go right in the well.
Right.
Oh, poor Pokedude.
Yeah, Pokedude takes a hit in the back of escape. I guess the good news is that he's right here by the mantle, but, never like to get that delay. Meanwhile, Sick Kid has a power glove, all right.
Wow, the fetch quest paying off. It kind of makes me wonder at this point, is the mushroom going to have the Titan's mitts?
Right. And there are the boots. All right, so some of our Light World loadout coming into play very early here. Boots always welcome. So we're going to see the purchase of bombs here. Having just no luck with it. Otherwise...
Well, they have enough money. The seed has so far been pretty generous with the rupees. Spending 50 on the bombs that's a good investment. You get to blow up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, if nothing else, the trip to the well will recoup some chunk of that.
Pokedude making good use of... Ooh,
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just pointing out that Pokedude was making good use of trying to conserve some magic there, and using the pots to continue farming bombs. But like as you noticed, of course, we found an item.
Yeah. No, definitely a good thing. As you see, he has done his last. He's going to be pushing this thing and very carefully wanting to fire to get rid of that rat. And it looks like he got it. Very nice.
So how do you feel about getting flippers early on?
I say it's great. You want to have them before that South Shore trip because, yeah, you can fake, but without the Moon Pearl, you can't do as much as you'd like. Now, what'll be interesting is if between now and that warp to the Waterfall of Wishing, if we do scrape together another 250 rupees, because then we'll have just some very high efficiency routing basically handed to you in the seed, and so it's going to make it a little more difficult for Pokedude to come back from his technical error earlier. You get the Ice Rod?
Well, the technical error is frustrating, but they're only 10 minutes in at this point, and even one routing divergence can easily make that up. So
Oh, certainly, yeah. There's plenty of time to be searching for that one item later, but we know now it won't be the Ice Rod or a sword.
yeah, they are getting everything already. The fighter sword and the fighter shield. They got the Uncle starter pack.
Yeah.
And they haven't even left Kakariko yet.
So we'll see. With early boots, is our library any good? You almost never see anything in here, it feels like. And there were those bombs. Yeah.
You were pointing out that the runners might want to route in Zora. Having the mitts does give and the boots gives them multiple methods of doing a hula hand room access, and with the rupees they have now, that'll put them over the 500 mark.
That's a true story. Meanwhile, Pokedude tracing steps into Kakariko now is going to get his boots in his glove.
Silver arrows in the race game.
Hey. Very nice.
This has the making of a world record seed.
Yeah.
I tend not to be a huge fan of picking up the flippers that early, just because if I like to see the fake flippers so much. It's one of the easier tricks for beginning runners to learn, and picking up the flippers just deprives you of all that fun. If you get the boots early, which both our runners have, you can do the run on water walk trick, and that actually is a time saver. There's nothing better than watching you just run right across Lake Hylia.
Yeah, it's definitely a spectacle, and as you say, it's much faster than the sluggish swim that Link goes through, but in either case, we're going to be seeing a wide open world at this point. We just need that Moon Pearl and either another glove or a hammer. We've got just huge chunks of the map open up now.
Well, I definitely won't be surprised if we go a little ways before we get some more progression, just because they've got so much to this point. It's time for them to pick up the arrow packs, pick up the bomb upgrades, pick up the red rubies. They're overdue for some disappointment.
Yeah, I suppose that might be true. Let's see what the Desert Ledge holds. Vanilla heart piece.
A little bit of love.
Yeah.
So MegaPatches doing that early desert check and Aegina's Cave check is one of those out of the way places that a lot of people will write off as dead until they absolutely have to go there. So it's if it's a gamble that if you find something here, there's a good chance your opponent might not.
Yeah, absolutely. And this time, just some of that disappointment you were calling for. But I think the boots definitely played a part in getting him over here as far as the decision, just because if you can do it that much more quickly.
Yeah, MegaPatches is choosing to do a save and quit there. I don't know if there's too much time difference with the boots running back from desert or doing the save and quit from Aegina's Cave. I think it's probably about the same, but he's making his way over to the mini Molderum cave. Got 5 items in here, usually some good rewards, and Pokeduke is finishing up his Kakariko run.
Yeah, I would say, if nothing else, doing the save and quit is your more familiar play, and even dashing through Agina's cave, you still have to line everything up just so.
Pokeduke is choosing to pick up those 3 bombs in the library. Only having 6 there brings him up to 9, and he's got a lot of farming left to do, so that'll help out.
Indeed. Meanwhile, we have MegaPatches has picked up the hammer from the generous man here in the mini Moldoran cave. That is just one more item away now from being able to get around a Dark World. Not to mention, having that hammer is just nice.
Pokeduke bombing the wall there, that in the brother's house. Doing a little family reunion for those 2 poor brothers, haven't seen each other in years. But that's actually one of the locations that with the boots, you can just bonk right through there. You don't even need a bomb.
Yeah, that's right. So it's interesting. He went to pick up the bombs and then went to use them as well. Ended up adding one of the boots bonks, but then and there's the Moon Pearl and Ice Rod Cave.
There's our Dark World access.
Yeah, another one that some runners will leave for a while, but again, you got the boots, just get over there. And so he's doing the save and quit. He's going to start the house, and we'll see if with this kit he goes straight for Hype Cave or plays back to the lake. And neither, making a fool of me. This Pokedude's going to diverge and go to the grave.
Yeah, keep in mind, neither runner has checked the back of escape here. Pokedude, again, using the bomb and doing a bomb and a bonk to double kill that wall.
Yeah, gotta be sure. There's that map and rupees, huh? So, checks you have to make, really, but you'd hope for more.
Yeah, well, it's a quick check. There's 3 items, and the items per minute rate. It's hard to get much better than that, but
yeah, definitely.
They've got the progression, and MegaPatches, he has his Dark World axe, and he's got the freaking Fire Rod.
Wow, yeah, jeez. So both of those out of the way. We got the hammer. We need a glove and a medallion, and then obviously we're gonna have to get the Trinex, right?
If it was me, I would go directly to Trinex because that's the only logical play at this point.
There goes our map check. We've got Green Pendant Desert and 2 blue crystals in Eastern and Hera.
Well, I'm glad you noticed that. I'm gonna wait for Ms. Metroid to update the tracker. I'm completely dependent on the tracker to do their excellent job and show me where these crystals are.
Yeah. And MegaPatch is saying, hey, wait a minute, I have the boots. Let's bonk. And 20 rupees for it. Oh, he didn't go for Zora because, as I mentioned before, he is lacking in the rupee department.
So it's interesting. At this point, barring a sequence break, that they can't even get to any of the dungeons in the Light World. You don't typically see that.
Well, I mean, they can always get the Eastern.
They can't complete any dungeons in the Light World.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they would have to do some dark rooms here. MegaPatches having to do a pump fake up the log tunnel, then back down. Gonna find their way to the Dark World in just a moment.
Back-to-back map checks. What do we have in the Dark World? Pendant Turtle Rock and Pendant Swamp Palace.
Yeah, and that's Thieves Town is number 5, Ice Palace number 6 for the crystals.
That is not what you want to see. A Pendant Turtle Rock with already having the Ice Rod and Fire Rod and the cane.
Yeah, sort of Murphy's Law outlook on that would say that you're going to Trinex. But for now, MegaPatches is going to Skull Woods, gonna unload the hammer on that Ropa and then surprise Tauros Guard.
Pokedude making good use of his knowledge of those whirlpool warps. Getting all the way up from the The I wish these things had numbers. The one up by
Oh, the
the
lumberjack
Death
one.
Mountain entry, yeah, the lumberjack one, all the way down to Ice Rod Cave.
Yeah.
You know, saves a lot of overworld travel time. So
Yeah,
that's good
normally
game
you'd see a
knowledge.
runner take a save and quit for that, and definitely a good thing to be able to keep track of.
Down to only 1 heart though, so Pokedude has to be very careful.
Yeah, and likewise, MegaPatches in a Dark World dungeon on the Green Mail with 1 heart.
Yeah, MegaPatches
tough.
has the advantage of at least if he dies within the dungeon, he's going to start within the dungeon. Well,
Right.
Pokedude's on the overworld, so he's got a lot of backtracking and just gets that crab.
Yeah. Very nice. Gonna come in here, farm up some rupees because, well, he's aware of his situation. Got those flippers real close.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Zora area, but it looks like Pokedude is getting ready to to head up there. He's in the area. I said that expecting he was going to go back in and keep farming rupees.
Yeah, I wonder. Perhaps banking on something else. But in either case, swimming onward as MegaPatches.
So MegaPatches getting the big chest the way that the game intended you to get the big chest.
Wow, and even getting to the switch in the same way. Yep.
I'll admit that
Don't bother with the start time.
Didn't know that you could actually hit the switch there. I just walked around the room. But not finding anything.
Yeah, trading a big key for a small key. Not that it's expended, but it's the one place you use it in this dungeon.
Well, with only green mail and the fighter sword, it's probably hoping that he can pick up his 2 skull-lid items without having to risk everything on Mothula at this point.
Yeah, having a red potion helps if it hadn't expended it while I was away. But hey, nice bonus here. You got the Cane of Samaria here. Gotta love that.
Yeah, those poor Gibdos. They're just waiting for a fight, and you just walk right past them. Poor guys.
Yeah, nobody got time for that. We'll find the compass here in Skullwoods, and I don't recall seeing the map, but admit that I am watching 2 runners.
We are all watching 2 runners. So, Pokedude picking up, I think there's a fairy in here, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely right. The Great Fairy here in this swamp area.
Good to know where the fairy spots are when you're down to 1 heart.
Yeah, showing some good map knowledge here using the warps, and now the fairy as MegaPatches opens up the back of Skull Woods. Mega is showing, I would assume, some strong knowledge of the damage tables there, knowing that that dash wasn't going to take out those mold arms. Stop short so he can finish with some slashes.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what he's doing here. I initially would have expected going for the lower chest, collecting that item, and then doing a death warp. Given how few hearts that he has, but he's heading straight to Mothula with 1.5 hearts and fighter sword.
We'll see what it ends up being worth. It just takes it there anyway. We'll see if they opt for it now. Pokedude really wants these rupees. He's hoping for the fish return prize. And with a glitch there, I'm not sure what he got, but it didn't appear to be rupees.
Well, he took the fish home.
Yeah. It's got the satisfaction of saving a fish's life, I suppose. Although he was the one that endangered it by pulling the switch, so, maybe that way
That is a good point, yeah.
Just breaking even. Doesn't want, a negative karma balance. That sort of thing.
MegaPatch is doing a really good job dodging those Gibdos. There's 4 of them, and they were swarming them at one point.
Yeah, some players at least give like 1 or 2 frustration swats, but MegaPatches decided, I've got some torches to light, so just went right for it.
All evasion, all evasion.
Yep. And it's a good thing they were practicing because they're going to need it for this Mothula fight. A devastatingly under-equipped fight. Not that I doubt their ability, but just there's definitely nicer ways to fight Mothula.
Well, Pokedude picks up his hammer, but I'm gonna have to focus over here on MegaPatches because this is a difficult fight.
And pulls it off quite well, really.
The hammer makes all the difference there. The Mothula takes 8 fire rod shots, and you know you can walk into this fight with a full 8 if you do some backtracking. But the hammer does tempered sword damage, so that's only 4 hits.
Right.
Difficult hitbox though. That's
Absolutely.
the fight that takes practice.
Yeah, but showing resolve and getting through that. Very nice.
So I didn't notice what item Mothula dropped, but I guess that was the second item because Mega didn't check that other chest.
Yeah, I think it was, honestly, I kind of blanked it out, and I found that I do that when it's, usually when it's nothing important, so. Ms. Metroid reminds us it's a piece of love, thank you.
Yeah, I'm ill-suited to be a tracker. I just don't notice these things.
Yeah, I was impressed by the fight and missed, but now we've got Pokedude finally able to get up here to Zora with the right number of rupees. And while MegaPatches will check the Cape Ledge. Oh, and it's a sword upgrade. That will be important, especially for closing this gap. And especially if another one doesn't pop up for MegaPatches here, because they find a red rupee.
Yeah, the Master Sword upgrade is, in my opinion, the most valuable single progression item in the entire game. You get double the damage of the Fighter Sword, you get the extended reach, you have the ability to access the Bombos and Ether tablets, and of course, it's your minimum requirement to actually damage Ganon and complete the game, as well as some other enemies that you can't damage with the Fighter Sword. So getting that out of the way with only 26 minutes into the race, that's satisfying.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and especially after all the work put in to get up to Zora, it's going to be a key point in this race for sure. Meanwhile, also going to route in that mushroom as MegaPatches gets more than their money's worth from the treasure chest game in $100 back, plus the actual item, the fairy in the bottle.
Yeah, Pokedude is definitely being efficient with these one-off locations like Zora and the Mushroom. Not having the flute yet, as Rao's rounding them in, we saw use of the overworld portal earlier to take some shortcuts. So making do with the limited options available.
Yeah, it's exactly the sort of things they're going to need to do to make sure they get back in this race. I'm one of those cases where, because of what had happened with the emulator layers and all, that they're certainly aware that they've spent some time falling behind, unfortunately, but undaunted, they continue.
Well, unless MegaPatches finds himself lacking progression and ends up routing in Zora, that's a location that is very easily skipped. So Pokedude may end up with this being a sword ahead at the end of this race.
Yeah, as you were saying, the Master Sword, highly important. But the Tempered Sword then, which it could be that Pokedude finds and MegaPatches does not, is also another game changer. And so it may be a sort of dual factor advantage for Pokedude in a best case scenario.
Absolutely, and it lowers the skill requirement for a lot of fights. We saw MegaPatches do the Hammer Mothula, which is something that you have to practice. You can't just do it. Pokedude, he's got the Master Sword now, so he only needs 8 slashes with the Master Sword to win the same fight.
Oh, there you are, map and compass right away here. I guess that's all 3 of our dungeon items in 4 chests here in Thieves Town. So at least the rest of these are going to be good, hopefully.
Well, at least Thieves Town is a red crystal. If you dip into a Pendant Thieves and you find 3 items up front, 3 dungeon items up front, you're faced with a tough decision. But a crystal, you're going to keep going.
Absolutely. Yeah, and also, again, a nice convenience to see it has afforded our runners. They have the hammer on their first trip in. That does not always happen, and it means they're going to get to open that big chest.
I agree, Epi. Making the decision to go into Thieves Town without the hammers is one of the more difficult riding decisions for runners at any skill level. If you have to backtrack to pick up the big chest item later on, it's so inconvenient.
Indeed, but then crossed with the fact that these chests are basically overworld, apart from that one, can be also tough to pass up. So I've seen runners bitten each way with it.
So it's interesting. We see, Pokedude not taking that initial look into Skullwoods. Not going to cost him any progression at the moment. Looks like he's going Thieves Town first.
Ooh, and he's going to be happy to find that hook shot as MegaPatches just did.
Absolutely. The hook shot will give them access to Eastern Death Mountain, and the hammer will give them access to Tower Hera, assuming they find the flute or the lamp, or are willing to sequence break the dark passage there. The item density up there is higher than any other location available right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. And so you may see our runners take that bait then. Or we may actually see the hammer or the flute come up in the meantime. We'll have to see, but in either case,
yeah, we
haven't need that hook shot to get through this game.
Definitely, we haven't seen any dark rooms yet, so we don't know what our runners feel comfortable with. Some dark rooms are harder than others, and that's not something that we interviewed them in advance to ask about. So we'll just have to wait and see whether they decide to make those sequence breaks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Again, another factor that, depending on the placement of that relevant item, may play a huge part in this race. Meanwhile, Mega Man is dragging the Mega Maiden around, and we're going to find out what's in the box. It's the lamp, all right.
Well, congratulations, Epi. Commentator's blessing kicked in.
Yeah, I'll be available for witch burning after the race.
So the next two items are swords then, right?
I'm not saying nothing. Meanwhile, though, we do have a beginning convergence here, minus, of course, the Skullwoods Crystal for Mega, as both of our runners are here in Thieves Town, and even in the same room for a moment as Pokedude poked in early, just to make sure Blind wasn't already there.
Well, but yeah, Blind can get up to some shenanigans when you're not watching, so you have to keep an eye on that room.
Yeah. But we're getting one of my favorite boss fights right now in the Kana Samaria Blind. Oh, but Mega takes the fall.
But it has a fairy!
Right. And there we go. And so the fight continues. We're here in this last phase. Of course, Blind having one of the more interesting damage tables, which I think really makes this fight feasible at all. 3 hits per phase, 3 phases. Ooh, and that's gonna be
that's a full KO at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, bummer.
I think MegaPatches may have been a little bit too eager to use the Samaria strats there. I didn't see too many sword slashes.
Yeah, no, wasn't trying to slash to get the fight done. Yeah, and then also you're using your cane, so you don't want to switch off to the potion, but yeah, it, buddy.
Yeah, well, the blind fight is interesting because it's one of the few fights that's completely scripted and it 100% repeatable. But at this point, if you die to Blind and you have to come back in, he's already in the room and you're facing random patterns.
Right. Yeah, that first attempt, as you said, you can know and accomplish, but I was running low again. I wonder if they must forget about their potion.
Actually, they used their potion earlier in Thieves Town, so they are out of safeties at the moment.
Oh, is that it? Okay, well then, shame on me.
Yeah, Blind isn't giving the best positioning, but even still, with the fighter sword, I think that that the timing for the Samaria might be making it a little bit more complicated.
Yeah, at this point, he's just going to have to white knuckle it with this sword, I think, because he's also running dangerously low on the magic meter.
Well, fortunately, blind is not that difficult to come back to later in the game. He's completed the rest of the dungeon. He got the lamp and the hook shot. Those are the major progression items. If he wants to come back later on when he gets some more health, maybe a mail upgrade, another potion, that's not going to be a time loss.
Yeah, it's got to be a thought on his mind at this point as Pokedude has made their way to the big chest and MegaPatches is going to start scavenging.
Yeah, MegaPatches is out of magic at this point, so it's going to be a very difficult fight. Going back into these attempts with 5 hearts, no longer has Samaria.
Go over to the right. Oh, darn. He's like 2 feet from a heart right now, but there's a barrier in the way. I know because I die to blind all the time. But anywho, he's going for it.
Thought would be, and the other thing is I mentioned earlier, one of the reasons why I value the Master Sword is that it has a longer reach.
Yeah,
and this is a perfect example of where you see the difference.
Yeah, and actually, this is another fight, or a fight rather, that highlights another benefit of Master Sword Up is sword beams. If you do come in here with full health, then you can stand on the opposite side of the room and hit blind.
Well, you can see Pokedude doing just that. He was able to use sword beams, came in here with full health and the Master Sword.
Yeah, we're going to see that potion be of good benefit.
Yeah, may have to take one more hit before using it to maximize its value.
Yeah. Oh, and pushes the envelope a bit too far.
Well, Pokedude also picked up the fairy, though, so he's in good shape. And I think this is phase 3 here, so it only needs 1 hit.
Yeah, this should be it then. Indeed. All right. Got it pulled off. Very nice.
So, unfortunately, the MegaPatches, is deciding to come back to Thieves Town later when he's a little bit more equipped to handle blind. Those deaths, they're very unfortunate for him, but they give Pokedude a significant ability to catch up some valuable time that was lost during the escape sequence.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Mega getting the bug net here from the digging game. Just a different sort of scoop. It's going to make the Dark World rounds as Pokedude now kind of follows behind.
That's good for Mega because we've seen his preference of using the fairies, and he now has 2 empty bottles, and there's a lot of fairy locations there. So going into his next fight, he might be in a good position. And poor Pokedude doesn't even get to play the shovel game.
A little short on ropes, yeah. Haven't made that trip to Zora where MegaPatches did not have that problem. We're seeing these divergences come quite into play.
Well, not being able to do the shovel game is a shame, but I think having the Master Sword there is money well spent.
Absolutely. Especially when it's just the digging game, which, speaking of the shovel here in Hype Cave. Bombs and bombs, and I heard you were carrying some bombs, and here's some rupees for bombs.
So
that's in kind, MegaPatches leaves it back.
So normally, you try to do a Hype Cave on a scale from 1 to 10, but really all he got was a chore. It gave him an errand to run.
I don't know. I thought it was the bomb.
Oh.
All right.
Well, he gave him 6 bombs, but only a 5 bomb capacity upgrade. That seems a little unfair.
I think that's why I left one behind. That's actually really clever math. That's going to obviously come in huge later in this race. Meanwhile, he's making the trip up the pyramid while Pokedude's getting the exciting news about bombs. I think every bomb I see for the rest of the race is just going to remind me of that.
And MegaPatch is picking up a fairy there on that bonk tree.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those trees throughout the both the light and dark world where you can pick up items, pick up fairies. That's that's one of the more common ones, because everybody dies again, and so everyone needs that fairy.
Yep.
We haven't seen any item dashing. We haven't seen a lot of item dashing. The net dash is one of the neater tricks you can do. It'll actually collect the fairy as you bonk into the tree.
Oh wow. Yeah, MegaPatches is clearly thinking Zora as they went to pick up this 20 rupees, and Pokedude's thinking digging game in doing the same.
Ooh, it looks like MegaPatch was doing a bonk rock check, but unfortunately already did bonk rocks. So
right. Now to the back of escape.
And that's going to be a lot of disappointment. Three disappointing chests.
Yep. Well, Pokedude heading up the catfish. Only unfortunate to not have the mirror here. Well, no, they had routed that already.
Right. And MegaPatches also chose to both blow up and bonk the wall.
Just something about that wall. It's looking at him funny or something.
But when I see things like that, I wonder, did the players discuss beforehand that we're gonna do this? We're gonna blow up and bonk every wall.
Yeah. All right. Pokedude's gonna have to tread carefully here on his way to the catfish. Getting a little low on health, but looks like he's here to the final drop. Bringing the bush from the highlands to the lowlands into the pit.
Pokedude currently without any safeties at all, having used the fairy and the potion.
Yeah. And the catfish gives him 20 bucks.
Well, one fish gave him a sword and one gave him a life lesson.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Mega making good on the mushroom, which we know to be the heart piece. And when you've only got one row of hearts, you pick all those up, especially when they're that close.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mega having just enough money to make that Zora trip is heading up there, and will be very happy to see that Master Sword.
Yeah, it's going to be, won't specifically affect the blind fight all that much, just the range element that you'd pointed out earlier. It looks like...
Well, like you said too, the sword beams. This is very interesting. Pokedude heading into Aghanim's tower. The lumberjack item.
The mail upgrade, I guess. That's surprising. Well, here it goes anyway.
There's a message that you can see. One of the randomly generated Uncle messages that says "Red mail is for cowards." I couldn't disagree with that more.
Disregard Uncle. He's just being mean.
Disregard Uncle, and disregard VTorp, I guess, in this case. But the mail upgrades are absolutely incredibly valuable safety items. If you don't have the years of experience, to do these things blindfolded. That said, it's something that you expect to see them go a little bit out of their way for, but completing all of Aga's tower, that's a lot of work, even for the mail upgrade.
Yeah, that's at the very least it takes time.
Yeah, you're looking at 4 to 5 minutes for Aga tower, plus heading back up for the mail. And this does give him another Dark World access point. Not really needed. It's once he gets the mirror, it's going to actually make it a little bit slower to do saving quits. He's going to have to mirror back to the light world before he saves and quits every time.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. In the meantime, we do have MegaPatches making good on the lantern pickup. Gonna climb Death Mountain, return the old man, and get into that dense item-rich mountain. Half magic, hey.
Well, very well rewarded for doing the good deed of the day, helping the old man cross the street.
Yeah, doesn't want to get hit by any dead rocks, that's for sure.
Pokedude having a little bit of trouble with these red guards. He does have the fire rod, and can one-shot them with the fire rod. Hammer will also take these out in 1 or 2 hits.
Yeah, getting a little close for comfort. Another bottle with a fairy there. Top of spec rock on the inside, just 10 arrows.
Yeah, not even a 10 arrow upgrade, just the arrows.
Yeah.
So not having the mirror, MegaPatches has no other route than to take the long way around, and if he wants to go to Hera, but East Death Mountain, has very high item density. There's 7 items in Paradox Cave here. The item in or 6, the Spiral Cave item, and he'll get the first look at the floating island item.
Yeah. Yeah, 7 in Para, 1 in Spiral, and whatever you find in Hera. And yeah, you make this trip as soon as you're able. Working on the life bar.
Yeah,
meanwhile, Pokedude's watching his girlfriend disappear.
I always forget if there's 2 chests or 1 chest in that room before I go in there. But so it's 7 items here. That one is so easy to confuse with the one in the Kakariko well, where there's only the 1 item.
Right. And completing that heart
Rubies and a single arrow.
Well, there goes a mail upgrade, huh?
Well, that gives MegaPatches 11 hearts now, and with mail, that's effectively 22 hearts, of health.
This has been the you will get your revenge on blind pack.
Yeah, with the Master Sword, the double the hearts and the blue mail, he's very well positioned once he decides to head back there. He attempted to do the bomb jump to save a little bit of time there, but was a little bit too far away from the edge, and is going to have to do the long way back up.
Yeah, and that's just as well.
Pokedude finishing up Aga, didn't have any trouble with the Aga Tower. Did have to use a potion, but other than that, got through it, and Aga is down.
Yep. I'm gonna put that net to work. Oh, not before the Dead Rocks have something to say.
Dead Rocks always has something to say.
Oh, and there's a medallion. It is Ether on the island. That's like
That's valuable knowledge
big
to have.
Statue heads, right? Ether Island.
Yeah. Clever. That's it's valuable item, valuable knowledge to have. Misery Mire, is a crystal dungeon. We don't know which medallion is needed. Turtle Rock, we may or may not be needed. And of course, once again, until we have Dark World access, we don't know. They may or may not need that ether. Pokedude, you were absolutely right. Wanted that blue mail and is heading right for it.
Yeah. Only a shame that there's one available in an easier to get to spot, but it's just as well they will end up with the red mail and have their benefit for it.
Absolutely. Pokedude is not going to miss out on that East Death Mountain check given the item density there, so we'll end up finishing the game with red mail and we'll be I no doubt will be happy with that.
Yeah. In fact, that is just where they're going now, and why not? You're right there by the tree. As MegaPatches opted for Spiral first, climbs again, and will go for the Tower of Hera now.
Pokedude is showing us, very efficient routing. Holding off on doing this old man route until he picks up the lumberjack item, getting a lot of things done while in the area.
The lumberjack item at least, and got the heart container here. It looks like, MegaPatches wants it. Why not? It's not too much work.
That's a full heart.
Yeah.
They're at the point now with 12 hearts and blue mail where we might see them start deciding that it isn't really worth going out of the way for heart pieces, but full hearts are still going to get picked up.
Yeah, certainly. There goes that small key, which means, well, time to wait.
It's a little inconvenient, but Epi, I actually think that this is the best place for the Tower of Hera big key to be. You know your opponent is going to have to do the exact same time sync that you do.
Yeah, that's pretty good. At least, you know, if it's a guaranteed part of the route, you grumble, but you don't lament that you didn't have fire the first time or something like that. Although I suppose if, well, no, they got that fire pretty early, I guess, but
yeah,
had they sequence broken, might not have been able to do this.
Yeah, this is one of those locations that it's so time consuming that it's very tempting to leave it behind until you absolutely have to come back later. MegaPatches tried to get the peg glitch that would give him invulnerability frames using a bomb, but unfortunately got hit by a tile and had to do it the old way.
Yeah. And MegaPatches opting to take the walk back. Gonna be picking up pots and hitting the crystal switches to make sure they have clear passage.
And Pokedude is right about to pick up that red mail.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any frustration notable or if it's just, well, now it's red.
And just to reiterate, you know, it's the uncle message that says red mail is for cowards. That's not me saying that.
Indeed, and right on with it is Pokedude gonna attempt this bomb jump as MegaPatches is making their way. Oh, nails it. Nice.
Line that up very nicely.
Yeah, right in the corner and boom, you're across.
Seeing MegaPatches is using kind of the opposite switch block pattern that you typically see, the pegs and the floor tiles. So that's a little interesting.
Yeah. Would be able to hook across, but decides they don't want to try to bonk back, I guess. Because when you hook, you do set off your crystal switches.
Well, already picked up one item. May have both items. Or maybe gambling that that Moldorum here has a second item. And
yeah, you know, to be honest, I haven't been doing a great job of counting this one.
Well, all I saw was this heart piece in the beginning.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right, though. You know, you can hookshot across to that chest and then bonk back with the boots. You can do it with bomb jumps.
Stand on the platform.
You know, you typically see NMG, strats use bomb jumps, but the hookshot makes it easy.
Oh wow, just sneaking back onto this platform. Oh, down to half a heart and takes the fall.
Oh,
oh, going for the fairy pot. Wow.
And another fairy location that I didn't know existed.
Yeah. This is one of the more roundabout ones. As you see, it's quite a long fall, but you do get right back up here to the top floor, so it's not all that much time lost considering.
What I'm used to seeing is the orange blocks there being in the down position, so you can get hearts from the pots. Knowing about that fairy location, that is once again we're seeing some game knowledge here that you don't necessarily see all the time in the the finals. And
yeah, we're getting a very certain tour of this game. So it picks up that crystal, has left the big chest behind for now. I expect they'll be returning in. But it's a surprising decision. Oh, big chest is compass. All right.
This Metroid is counting the items.
Yeah, and I'm kind of in forgive me, a bit of a key sanity mode, I suppose.
Well, you have my sympathies.
But back to the sanctuary goes MegaPatches. Pokedude, having done the tile room, is on their way up the tower.
So MegaPatches completed everything that he could do on Death Mountain. At this point, it looks like he's going to have to go back to the Dark World.
Yeah, take down Blind, exact the vengeance, and well, there's a couple of places you can get to still, like Palace of Darkness. And you don't have the bow, but there's nothing saying the bow won't be there.
And we haven't seen either runner take a look at anything in the eastern area, have we?
Correct. Yeah, not even a trip to Sahasrahla.
Not even Sasha's hut. Okay, so on Pokedude's side, we just saw that he found 300.
Oh, the 300 rupees were right in front of the statue, of course.
Yeah, right, so yeah. that explains. MegaPatches absolutely knew, was counting his items, knew that he did not need to get that big chest. No. That's why he's racing, and we're just talking about
it. Exactly. Now let's see a good clean fight from Pokedude here on Moldorm as MegaPatches treks back to Blind.
Pokedude is doing hammer strats. Well, if he pulls this off, he'll avoid that nasty 6th cycle where Moldorm bonked off MegaPatches. But yeah. I'm excited to see MegaPatch avenge himself over here.
Indeed. Pokedude picks up their 2nd crystal.
So MegaPatches got more health, better sword, double armor. Blind doesn't
still has that Cane of Samari out. Not that I think it's a poor decision. I just think it's a funny one. But I'm doing this the way I want. Line that shot up nicely.
He's got half magic now too.
Yeah, well, he'll be able to use it to his heart's content.
Still gonna have to be careful though. It's more equipment, but it's not infinite.
Yeah,
but
does make it
pulls
through.
It off with 1.5 hearts.
Yep. There we go. 3 crystals for Mega in just under the hour.
We do see a few rage slashes there for Mega.
Yeah, this appears to have glitched.
Oh
my. Yeah, that's a good old-fashioned soft.
Yes. The Mega. Oh, I know why that happened. Yeah, that is a known issue. If you use a Samaria block, if you explode a Samaria block as the item is dropping and you pick it up at the wrong frame, then the crystal won't drop.
Oh no!
So yet another reason why the King of Samaria is not a good choice for that fight.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Where do you go from here? I think he's gonna continue on over to Pod and say, you know what? We'll just say 3rd time's a charm.
Well, I don't know for sure whether or not. I believe if you go back to Blind, the crystal will just be sitting on the floor there, but I'm not positive.
Well then. Meanwhile, Pokedude gonna dig up the dig spot for 20 rupees. We're gonna get a look in Sahasrahla.
I'm gonna ask Chad here to keep an eye out. Thieves Town was the 5-6 crystal, so if we get a map check and we see that there's a red crystal there, then we'll know that the game counted it. Otherwise, he's gonna have to go back there, and if that did break the game, it's better to know earlier than later.
Indeed, but Mirror coming out of Sahasrahla, that would have been a nice thing to have early.
Absolutely.
There were a couple of times in this route for both of these runners where that mirror would have got them 1 or 2 extra items. So unfortunate to leave Eastern out at that early stage, but when you get the dearth of items they had, it's it's hard to resist the call.
That finding that there though can definitely put the runners on tilt though. Having the mirror be a Sphere 1 item, something they could have gotten from the beginning of the game, any runner who sees that is going to think that their opponent has had it since the beginning of the game.
That's true. This may have put a bit of a fire under MegaPatches.
Absolutely. You're thinking, was there something in King's Tomb? Was there something on Graveyard Ledge, K45? Places that I walked by and I couldn't get to. Did Pokedude find those items?
Right. But yeah, for now, MegaPatches does maintain a lead. But we'll see how that stands up as we go on with the blind debacle. And
yeah, I think that blind debacle is still undecided until we see a red crystal in his inventory, or somebody who knows absolutely for sure how that works chimes in.
I will say it's one of the glitches I'm not well versed in.
I know you don't use the Samaria block when you're getting the item, but how to recover from it, I'm not sure.
It looks like we're going to see Pokedude make their way into Skullwoods now.
Yeah, it does give us a great interview question, though.
And for now, just got MegaPatches doing the rounds in Eastern Palace, and I remember seeing the map and I believe the big key. Not sure on the compass though.
Yeah, there's gonna be something on Armos, and unless we find the bow in this next chest, it's gonna have to be an Eastern double dip. Pokedude is in a much stronger position heading into his multi-level fight. Master Sword, Red Mail, a lot more hearts, half magic on the Fire Rod. Multi doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah, it should be a good one here, and just in and out as MegaPatches puts that mirror to work to get out of Eastern, and it's probably gonna go just walk this down and check out Pod. Only a shame the mirror doesn't work in both directions. I have a little trouble hitting that one gap with the speed. No shame there, though. It's, the speed can be a bit of a curse depending on where you're at. But on we go into the Dark World, to the Palace of Darkness. Just double checking that Pod is a crystal, and on he goes. Kiki in tow as Pokedude makes their way to the second front part of Skullwoods. And hoping this isn't bow locked, or maybe hoping it is. Although, oh, with the mirror now, it does make Swamp Palace available. And so that will be interesting to see if and how far one must venture. But we do have a key here in the first chest, Palace of Darkness, as Pokedude has positioned the statue just wrongly and perhaps needed the assist. But yeah, as our tracker, Ms. Metroid, points out, could have used the Cane of Samaria there, but perhaps isn't used to having it this early or at all in a race. And to answer Plague 1, the Cane of Samaria soft lock, where when the crystal's dropping, or I guess maybe right before when you blow up a block, apparently that prevents the crystal from falling. This is a first time for me, so someone might be able to explain it better. Ooh, and Tempered Sword for MegaPatches. That's going to be a big one. As we were saying earlier, as we thought maybe the time for Master Sword for MegaPatches would have been longer. Oh, and I missed that first chest. Just rupees, I think. I saw in the second. To the Dark Maze now is Pokedude. It's going to traipse to the back here, slashing the Ropas. Taking some love from the Ropas. There's the flute out of the Palace of Darkness. Huh. Remembering a medallion on the island and having the flute now. Well, without the mitts, none of that matters. I was thinking, what would be a Misery Mire? We are going to get a look at this here. I guess it was one of the dungeon items. Or, no, never mind. I missed it. Got my rooms mixed up.
So, sorry there, Epi. I apologize. I was just confirming with the race administrators to get some information regarding that soft lock. The understanding is that when MegaPatches returns to Blind's room, waits a few seconds, the crystal will indeed fall. So the game is not broken, and the race can continue. So that's an official confirmation.
Well, that's good at least. Yeah, and I wonder how much about the situation MegaPatches actually knows. So if they're a bit on edge about going back to pick that up, may even save it for last, which depending on if the fairy has anything, it might be, that's going to be a very interesting little wrinkle in this race.
Absolutely. He's not going to be able to access the Pyramid Fairy, but he'll see that he's missing a crystal and hopefully will decide to double check. Either way, though, that's not a invalidation of the seed, so the race can continue.
Indeed. Yeah, Pokedude just going to town.
Look at that. I only lost 1.5 hearts.
Yep.
That's the difference between red mail and gray mail.
It looks like we have a bow-locked big chest and pod. Of course, the dungeon itself is always bow-locked to some degree. But yeah, knew exactly where they were going, and pod just had a bit of a circuitous route pushed on by the key distribution. I wonder if we'll see a trip into Swamp Palace here. Although I should think if you've got the flute, gotta remember to get to the village to activate it.
So it doesn't look like pod play paid off for Pokedude.
Flute. Yeah, flute's gonna be huge. And Tempered Sword.
Did Mega made the pod play? I thought Pokedude made the pod play.
Or Mega made the pod play, yeah. Poke hasn't been yet. Did I just say that?
I lost a few minutes, just checking on the race rules.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Just making sure I didn't misspeak. But yeah. So Mega had made the pod play and picked up the Tempered Sword and the flute. And so.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah. You gotta see him put that mirror to work here as well, getting the Grove Cave as well as the dig spot now. Nothing much to
Yeah.
show for either of them, but still, fair enough. I'd been curious as to why they didn't beeline for the village, but it makes more sense now. A good route.
MegaPatches has had that shovel all the way, all since Hype Cave, which was a good half hour ago. You got to always check your fetch quests. That's something that's very easy to forget, especially once it's hidden behind the flute.
Right. But yeah, with a couple of other item-rich areas available, I was able to put off and remember.
So we were getting a little low on spots for progression, and so it's refreshing to see Pod, give us some return on investment there. Tempered and and the flute. Unfortunately, though, without the mitts, can't get to the mire area. You just at the moment, it's just a little bit of a convenience item.
Yeah, we'll see how much they put it to use before finding those glorious golden gloves. But I gotta think MegaPatches is thinking to go back to Thieves Town now, and then after that, it seems like Swamp Palace might be the thing. Other than that, we do have King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge, which could also be on his mind, being up in this northern part of the map.
Yeah, MegaPatches is going to want to know for sure whether or not the Thieves Town item was picked up. So it just no choice but to double check here. It's the right decision based on what we know, and he's going to be happy that he made it.
Indeed.
I won't be surprised to see some Rage Slashes. Hopefully it's just Rage Slashes and not Rage Samaria blocks.
No, that hammer out, I think he's alright.
Just don't switch items, Mega. Don't switch items.
Yeah,
no! Don't do it. Don't do it. Please.
I think they were preparing for the fight again.
Well, that right there is the fastest blind fight I have ever seen. World record, MegaPatches. I got so scared when he switched to Samaria.
Yeah, Pokedude, I think, wondering, oh man, how long has my opponent had them? Taking a little bit of pause there. Do a little housekeeping.
Yeah, they could have saved a little bit of time when they did their Tower of Terror routing, if they had the mirror first.
Yeah.
They didn't get the hook shot until Dark World, so they could have done all of Death Mountain, earlier. And like you said, it's the what does my opponent have?
Right. Yeah, weighing that out, and it looks like MegaPatches is gonna understand their fate and head for the Swamp Palace now. Yeah, it's this or two locations in North Hyrule in the Dark World. Well,
Absolutely.
Actually, they're both technically in the Light World.
They can't get in the desert without the
book or the mitts.
Without the book or the mitts. They can't get into ice without the mitts. Mire without the mitts. Turtle Rock without the mitts.
Yep. So those golden gloves are here in the graveyard. We'll see how much this seed likes alliteration.
Swamp Palace is your best bet, and of course, the item density here is worth the time.
Yeah, far superior to just those two spots up top.
I wouldn't mind if this was a red crystal instead of a red pendant,
yeah.
But you go where you have to go.
Indeed.
Now, knowing that the odds are that progression is here in Swamp, it'll be interesting to see if they decide to mirror out once they find it. What do you think is the play that they'll make?
Man. It's true. It's a compelling thing for sure. I think it basically depends on where in the dungeon you find it. If you find it on left side or south side, I think you go. But if you're past that, basically past the big chest, I think you keep going.
That makes sense. You continue to analyze, how many items are left, how long it's going to take. It's items per minute, and you always have to be reevaluating that.
Yeah, there's that as well. Obviously, if we end up with a compass and a map early, it's like, all right, well, I still have all the items to get, so I guess I have to keep going. But if the mitts and the bow were here, and you only got the mitts, well, that's gonna be a bad time.
Well, MegaPatches is committing to doing the left side, the full left side clear by opening that door first, using his key.
Yeah.
So it looks like, knowing that he needs so many items left, he's probably decided he's just going to commit to do the full clear.
Indeed.
He's got to feel really, really stressed after the multiple blind deaths, and then the soft lock and waiting to come back to that. It's finding the mirror late. Even though he found the mirror first, relatively late based on the knowledge he had at the time. So he's got to really be feeling it.
Yeah, neither of these runners can feel especially home free, especially Pokedude with his early emulator snap. But all in all, shaping up to a very interesting race.
Yeah,
See a lot of neat things, for better or for worse.
And keep in mind too, Epi, as we mentioned at the start of the race, this is the 0-2 bracket. So both of these runners are competing for their chance to remain in the advancement phase. So there's even more pressure from that.
Indeed. And speaking of interesting things you don't normally see in the race, we found out that bird used to be a tea kettle, and then Pokedude got a full health refill before going into pod here. So, hey, knows what they need and knows how to get it, so it's pretty good.
There is a fairy in one of those orange trees that you can bonk as well. So it's nice to know that there's multiple options for full health refills so close to a difficult dungeon.
Indeed. Yeah, and map and compass found now for MegaPatches, so looks like it'll be all items from here on out. No gloves yet.
Yeah, MegaPatch is not having a good time on this left side swamp play. Those fire bars just keep getting in the way.
And
so only the head of the fire bar will cause damage, but they can turn on a dime.
Indeed. And MegaPatch is known better than to attempt to Samaria that switch when you're walking off stream. The blocks go, or stream off screen.
I will honestly be surprised if we see the Can of Samaria used for anything other than absolute, the block in Misery Mire, and then the rails in Trouble Rock. I don't expect to see that item used again.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
we'll have to do a follow-up interview with MegaPatches, like a year from now, and see if he's ever.
There they are. And some slashes the show. We've got the Titans mitts here.
Excellent find.
And was that the big key right before it?
Oh, okay, interesting. Doing the save and quit.
All right, yeah.
So there were items remaining in that dungeon. He had the item on Argus and the item in the big key chest, since he already found both the map and the compass. It'll be scary if one of those turns out to be the bow.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you do have a a huge potential and crystals to complete. So, all in all, I know I said earlier, oh, if you make it past the door there by the big chest, you should probably finish it. But I mean, I don't disagree with this play altogether.
Yeah, you like I said, you judge with the knowledge that you have at the time. We do not yet know what the go mode items are going to be at this point. We know that they're going to need at least one medallion for Misery Mire, and they're going to need the bow. But beyond that, it's we're not really sure.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Meanwhile, MegaPatches has elected to do Ice Palace here with the mitts. Not wanting to take the time to go set up perhaps disappointment in the other dungeons, Mire, and I don't think they would opt for Turtle Rock first by any means.
Ice Palace is a very interesting choice to make for your first mitts unlocked a dungeon. Dark Death Mountain, even if you don't go in the Turtle Rock, just knowing what pendant it is, what medallion it is rather, is knowledge. Plus, there's 6 items up there, 7 if you brute forces Spike Cave. The Misery Mire in particular, knowing that's a crystal, I really want to know what the medallion he needs is. If he finds out,
that's another item that could be buried in the swamp.
Well, if he finds out that Misery Mire is, say, we know where Ether is. We've seen one of the medallions. I forget where.
It was on the Death Mountain Island.
Yes. So if he goes and finds out that Misery Mire is Ether, then he can go do Dark Death Mountain, pick up Ether, and then go right back and clear Mire.
Indeed. Attempting this bomb jump, but just bumping off at once. I think they're gonna opt for a different sort of bomb use there. Just bring the pegs down and just go for it. And not a bad move.
Absolutely not. When you're doing what MegaPatches appears to be doing, which is a full clear of Ice Palace, and you have the King of Samaria to use on the Switch, doing that bomb jump is actually a little bit slower. So saving time by opting not to do it.
Yeah, for a lot of instances of the randomizer, you end up getting in the habit of it because it's usually the beneficial thing to do. But showing some restraint here and going to be rewarded with a bit of a time save for it, hopefully. Putting this boots to work to get past the real final boss of the dungeon, the Ice Stairs. Oh, but does not get that bomb up over the top. There we go. Freeze ores, yield the compass.
Yeah, not having a small key, can't do the bomb jump to get across there and check Ice Tea Room the short way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's going to have to route this the long way.
And prepping the big chest drop for later, having to pass it up, lacking the key.
Yeah,
around this very geometric room.
We'll see the Ice Tea item, and then we'll do the long trek through that penguin room, and then we'll see the jelly hookshot room.
Now check this out. We've got our other location beat.
Yes, our first graveyard. Let's check.
Yeah, graveyard and Kingston will be checked, and we'll see. All right, just a heart piece here. That's vanilla. Ooh, and Patch is gonna have to be careful here.
Well, I think he's picked up 2 fairies at this point, so he's got a little bit of safety.
You want to use those? Yeah, you want to use those on the boss fight, though.
Well,
not at all.
We did see MegaPatches access the fairy, that very remote fairy location in Tower of Hera, so I have no doubt he knows the fairy locations in Ice Palace.
Oh, absolutely.
A little piece of love, not vanilla though, but not progression either.
Yeah, no, the play in the swamp was the prudent one. Oh man, and bouncing back and forth across these spikes on that low health again.
Yeah, swamp was prudent, but the question is, could it have been more prudent?
Indeed, we do have some items left. Oh, it just feels like the bow or a medallion, but I may just be pessimistic.
That's a little bit why, I suggest that the Meyer check, could have value if it's ether and you find the bow, then you're in go mode at that point.
Right. Have the very close to vanilla big key here. A fistful of keys gonna make their way back through this dungeon. Gonna have to pop that hook shot to make sure they get the chest. And they're gonna want to yeah, I guess you do that. Yourself a little buffer. As Pokedude finally activates their flute. Or has okay, yeah.
Yeah, Pokedude in the same situation Mega was, not going to be able to actually take advantage of the flute for anything other than navigational aid until he goes and finds those mitts.
Oh, how about that? That room, yeah, you're exactly right. And that room, the floor resets. Magic powder. All right.
Well, that is an excellent item for Mega to find. It is a fetch quest, and it's one more check that he has to do in Kakariko, but I expect we're going to see a lot of anti-fairies get turned into fairies before this race is over.
Yeah, these guys have shown no shyness on the safety. It gets the job done, so. Yeah, as Played One points out in chat, it is certainly timely, as you had mentioned, Tiru, that we were going to have that powder in time for an anti-fairy.
We saw it get used right away.
Yep.
That actually saved Mega the need of having to use his key at this key door, hit the switch block, go all the way back up, and then fall down to the fairy room. He was able just to powder the anti-fairy, save 30 seconds easily.
Yep. Now,
so
fire rod and half magic. Let's roast a cold stare.
Absolutely. Only needs to use half of his magic to remove this ice block, and then with Tempered Sword and 8 remaining shots, shouldn't have any trouble at all.
Yeah, and sends him off to the corner as he ought to. Begins the solemn work of slaying the beast.
Yeah, he ideal positioning on that initial hit.
And there it is. Yeah, very nice. Putting that kit to really good use.
Well, a little disappointing on the reward there. Just triple bombs, but excellent execution. Getting cold stared locked into the corner there is, it's you have to practice a little bit, but once you do it, he goes down really fast, especially with tempered.
Yeah, and now we've got 2 red crystals, and this opens up the Pyramid Fairy. We'll see just where on the priority list that falls for MegaPatches. That may have been his motivation for picking this dungeon first before the uncertain entry to Meyer, for example.
That is a good point. He does now have the Pyramid Fairy access, and unlike Pokedude, who cleared Ag Tower, MegaPatches does not have to mirror to the Light World prior to saving and quitting in order to access one of these starting points.
Yeah.
Pokedude is going to end up on the pyramid every time he does a save and quit. It's a little bit inconvenient.
Yeah, there's not too many places you really want to get to from the top of the pyramid, even with the mirror, but at least with the flute in tow now, it's, a couple of screen transitions and you're there.
Well, MegaPatches is really hoping to find the bow at this point. He's going to be picking up his ether, but he's hoping finds the bow, heads over to Meyer, finds that's ether, and then he's in go mode. But it's randomized, so it really does what you hope it does.
Yeah, we'll see what we get here as MegaPatches vaporizes the block with his mirror, because that's how mirrors work. And down to these chests he shall fall.
There's now 1 extra block somewhere in the Light World, I guess.
And just 21 rupees.
Not a very encouraging start to Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, but there is still plenty of time for this to get good.
Will the value be in Hookshot Cave? Let's find out. Looks like we're getting a medallion check on TR before we do a Hookshot Cave.
That's a Bombos. Now we do have Pokedude venturing around here in Swamp. Wonder how much further he will go than MegaPatches did and what we'll see for it.
We're seeing the same left side commitment from Pokedude. You know, it is at least outwardly appearing that that he wants to do the full clear.
Indeed. I guess in the seed, those golden Titans mitts.
No, don't save and quit. Don't save and quit, MegaPatches.
Oh, yeah, no, you got one more thing to do. You want to go get that ether, which may
yeah.
There you go.
Oh, that was a close one.
Yeah, that would have been a, yeah, because that one won't just be a map or compass.
Well, coming that close means we're not going to need ether. We saw that Turtle Rock was Bombos, which is actually great for MegaPatches because not having Bombos means that he can't even be tempted to go in there at this point.
Right. Which it may or may not be part of the critical path of this seed, but for now, he can do more prudent things. Like check out Meyer.
Well, his two big choices at this point are, do Magic Bat and Blacksmith's Chain in Kakariko, or do Meyer Area. Meyer Area is the crystal, that's the progression, so that's a good way to go. We didn't see the medallion though. Didn't quite go that far to the right.
No, not yet.
So come on, Ether. Bombos! Oh no.
So Bombos is somewhere at large. It may be before or after the bow.
Well, at least we know it's not in Turtle Rock.
Right. Bombos is not in Turtle Rock.
I'll admit I was kind of expecting to see Bombos in Checkerboard Cave. The Meyer area. Checkerboard Cave has a tendency of just like having the medallion for Meyer.
We do have new access to Desert Palace now, so this will be interesting.
Yes, and this is of course, not having the book, we haven't seen pedestal checks from either of these players. Regardless, Desert being the green pendant, is 3 items here. For MegaPatches to pick up.
Indeed.
And Pokedude is going right about to get his mitts. It'll be very interesting to see. Is Pokedude gonna mirror out, or will we see what's left in Swamp? This still could be the bow.
It really could be, and that would be just a devastating thing for MegaPatches, who will likely not return to Swamp for some time.
Absolutely, and this could be Bombos as well.
It could be, and again, a devastating thing for Mega. Yeah, so we got the big key and the compass so far out of Desert. Other than that, I think it's just a small key. There's the map. All right, well, in the big chest and on the boss, we will find our items in Desert.
Yeah, getting all the dungeon items early. So he's gonna check the big chest. Made excellent use of the mirror to get back to the entrance there. That's definitely the way to do it when you have that entry point.
And Pokedude continues in Swamp.
We're gonna get our very first look at Argus, and then I think this is probably gonna have to be either the big key or the big key is in the big key chest. I believe that's the way the logic works.
Yeah, I think they're allowed to lock them in now. So we'll see, but either way, it's you're going this far. If you get that big key, boom, he's going back in.
Well, Pokedude is well equipped for the fight. With Tempered, you only need one sword slash to kill each of these puffs.
Yeah, it makes it just that much simpler. Otherwise, it really just feels like a button mash fest for the first part. And there can be a fair bit of technique at the beginning of this fight, and being able to just one-shot the puffs helps.
Ooh, unfortunately, he tries to dodge Argus, and Argus just lands on him, body slammed.
Yeah. Yeah, playing it real close, but does take down the big old eye monster. And what do we have? 300 rupees. Alright, so big key in the chest. And the rest of Swamp was not worth it. So MegaPatches chasing the golden power, and turns out to be the right move.
Well, that is good for MegaPatches. You know, he obviously, of course, doesn't know that it's good. Given the fact that Turtle Rock is the same medallion as Misery Mire, we know that the pedestal cannot be the Bombos medallion because MegaPatches has the Bombos medallion.
There it is on Desert, yeah. Oh man. So our tracker calling it just a bit early. It's the Bombos and the green pendant, rather than Bombos being the reward for the green pendant. But we're still looking for the bow, so we fully expect a little bit of a song here, and then MegaPatches is going to go visit Sahasrara.
Yes, and the bow can be on the pedestal because that just needs Swamp Palace, Desert Palace, and Turtle Rock, none of which require the bow to complete.
True story. And if we find that book, we may just be reading the text, "You have chosen the Archer class."
Absolutely, and you know, Pokedude is the only one that has actually completed the Swamp Pendant, so that puts him one ahead in the pendant race.
Well, we do have MegaPatches having beaten Desert, so tied on that count.
That's a good point. I put my acknowledgement of that a few seconds behind the stream, I guess. But so we get a nice divergence here. MegaPatches giving us our look into Mire. You know, progression on the crystal can fully clear this dungeon, and Pokedude deciding to do a little bit more of the overworld checks. You know, not finding anything in that hammer spot, but maybe we'll get lucky with the frog.
Yeah, let's see what the Smiths have for us.
Yeah, Pokedude unfortunately does not yet have the powder, so is not going to be able to do this magic bat check while he's here.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate unchecked box. But it'll just have to wait. Yeah, because they had also turned in their mushroom already, and of course, fake powder is an option.
Picks up the fire shield.
Oh man, look at that big key of Mire. Right there on the first one.
MegaPatches just is, you know,
it's
not.
Yeah.
He's not in a position where he can ignore checking these two items, but
yeah.
he is in a good position where he can at least, you know, if he wanted to, he could go to Vitreous, see if Vitreous has one of the items he needs, and then come back in looking for the other one if he wants to.
Yeah,
so
honestly,
he's got a lot
for
of
how
options.
rarely I'd almost take the bait and do it. But in the meantime, Pokedude returning the purple chest for just a red ruby. So lunch money in the lunch box, as we like to call it.
So Pokedude making the Mire play first of his Dark World access. You know, before Ice, you know, gets that early knowledge about Bombos. If he decides to go directly in the desert, then he'll be doing Mire not too long after MegaPatches.
Indeed.
And MegaPatches looks like he's committed, not wanting to do the backtrack and have to do the Mire entry room more than once. It's going to get both of those items and then go down to Vitreous, but is making excellent use, as we expected, of that powder and getting lots and lots of fairies.
Indeed. Mire, one of the later dungeons in the vanilla game, filled with enemies that do just scads of damage.
Absolutely. You're expected to have the blue mail at this point, so he has the the minimum of what the game expects.
Indeed. And as you had predicted, Pokedude straight in the desert. Gonna get that Bombos. Gonna be right on MegaPatches' heels again.
Well, desert's right there. And it's the green pendant, so
Yeah,
there's
you'd
a
be
lot of
remiss not to do this dungeon at the time and check.
yeah. Being able to enter desert from the exit essentially, and having the boots. This desert was being the second desert in vanilla. Right after you get the boots, it was designed to show off the boots. It's all these straight hallways. So much fun.
Yeah, and even having that mirror to boot, if you don't mind the turn of phrase.
I do not. MegaPatch is showing us one of the cool tricks you can do with a fire rod. If you're pushing a block and you shoot the fire rod, it'll go right through the block, because during those frames, the block is just a sprite and not a block. So I guess somebody smarter than me would come up with some nice little philosophical statement about that, but I just see it as a way to save some time.
Indeed. Well, there goes the other item in Meyer. I believe we had rupees and now an arrow upgrade. So Vitreous gonna drop our crystal.
So chat. We've been carrying the load here, as is the job. But where do you guys think the bow is going to be? We haven't seen anyone chime in on their guess yet.
Our tracker calling for a tablet.
Bombo's tablet bow. Okay, I can see that. That's fair. No one's been screaming for pedestal.
If it's on the pedestal, I hope we find the book first, just because I like the text, but yeah, we'll see. At this point, we do have a lot open before having to pull that master bow, if it so happens to be.
Try next bow. That also absolutely in the logic and a very fun place for it to be. That's almost the same thing as pedestal bow.
Yeah, as they probably clear the other dungeons first.
Green pendant to give you book to go to Bombo's tablet. What this just Ms. Metroid, you're just recycling your first guess. I'm not going to count that one.
Alright, so Landmo's fight over before it starts with that fire rod. There was the Bombos medallion for Pokedude along with the green pendant. We'll see if Pokedude wants to just hop right back to Meyer, or we'll go drop off this green pendant first.
Pokedude is going to hop back in the mire. Pokedude has the red mail, 14 hearts, the tempered sword. They're going in the mire.
Indeed.
They're going in the checkerboard cave.
And then the mire.
And then the mire.
And then to Cleveland. And then we're going to the White House. Yeah.
So MegaPatches, ideally when you're doing Vitreous, you get silver arrows and you just machine gun down these eyeballs. Doing the little bit more traditional NMG strats with a few less optimized spins than you would see in one of those runs. But it sure beats the heck out of having to use bombs.
Indeed. Able to put that temper sword to work, taking down one of the heftiest bosses in the game. One of the only ones who takes 2 silver arrows.
Yeah, that's half a Ganon right there.
Yeah.
Well,
Ganon does have 2 eyeballs, so that's interesting. There's probably some kind of masterwork out there.
Well, the Triforce is that 1 item or 3 items? I don't know how you count it.
I meant his eyeballs, but yeah.
Oh, he's the eyeball. I think Ganon has 2 items.
Oh, no. But yeah, a little high five there at the front door of Meyer as MegaPatches makes his way out.
So Mega Patches, only finding a key on Vitreous. He knew what he was gonna get going into that fight, having picked up both items. But made the right choice. Avoided having to do the front of Mire twice.
Indeed. So it looks like Mega Patches is gonna go finish Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb.
Or the Blacksmith's Chain, and
of course, I forgot they hadn't done it.
With the powder, that's 4 items versus the 3 that Pokedude was able to pick up.
Yeah, we'll see what the powder ends up being. It could be the Batman has a bat bow for you.
Assuming we get nothing, though, I think you're probably right that the Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb make sense, followed by a mirror to turn in the green pendant.
Yeah,
mirror and
still
flute.
An unchecked box.
Because those are all quick checks, and I'd be shocked if we see Choro Rock before those those very quick turn-ins. Always do your fetch quests. Pokedude is showing us a part of Misery Mire we very rarely get a chance to see. I actually forget where this is.
This is a room that's in sort of the northish, centralish area of the dungeon, often called the fish room because of the pattern on the barriers down the middle, making that look a bit like a fishbone.
I do remember where it is. I just don't remember why you go up there. Like, are there fairies or something up there?
There is a key up there. But often you find yourself not needing.
Well, I am not a Keysanity player, but I watched a lot of Keysanity tournaments. And, one thing I remember hearing all the time was you do not ever need a Misery Mire small key.
Yeah, basically, because they're around.
They're everywhere.
Yeah. But, yeah, so just bombs out of Batman.
Well, it's good that he had the powder, because using up all of his magic for 3 bombs would have been disappointing.
Speaking, of course, of the fake powder glitch.
Ooh, duck dodge.
It's not very nice.
No, you only get like 4 ducks per game, and if you dodge them, you don't get them back. Okay, just a big 20. We are coming down to not that many places left.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very thorough tour of Hyrule, it seems.
Mega Patches may be going back into Swamp at this point.
Yeah, could be.
Or doing Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, that is another box as of yet unchecked. Another 2, I suppose.
Pokedude making the same choices that Mega did, doing the full item search. I didn't mention this when Mega was doing it, but another potential advantage of doing the item search prior to fighting Vitreous is if you pick up the bow, they do have silver arrows, so that would have made their Vitreous fight a lot easier.
Indeed. Unfortunately, we know that won't be the case for Pokedude, but you cannot fault the man for being thorough.
Yeah, this seed gave them all of their progression in the first 15 minutes, and at this point, they're just trying to find that one last item. Both players are 1 item away from go mode, and have been for quite a while. And at an hour and 48 minutes in, you have to be thinking that your opponent is probably a little bit ahead of you, regardless of where you're at in the game.
Yeah. And just upgrades here in the Pyramid Fairy, making it look more like the Pond of Happiness. And Pokedude gonna have to be a little careful there. Gets that door open. Now Mega Patches.
Pokedude14. Chat never did come back with my Pokedude research. You guys let me down. I think that was when you were offline, Epi.
Yeah.
I wanted to know if there were 13 other Pokedudes, and I sent that out as a research project, and I've gotten no response.
The research is ongoing. But yeah, so MegaPatches is gonna make his way up for $20. Cat positions himself right, he can just avoid it and get on with his life. It looks like he'll take it right on the head.
Pokedude finishing his very last dark room, and then he just has the two very well lit rooms, which don't make any sense at all. You think once you go down and it's dark, it's going to stay dark.
No, they got lights in the other room. I mean, heck, how's Amphitryon had all those eyeballs and no light? How would he?
Helmasaur is the same way. It's all dark until Helmasaur room itself, and then it's very well lit.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the bosses that have the need for the light and not the player.
Yeah, it might be. But so Mega probably gonna get onto this graveyard ledge as we'd expected before.
Yeah, Mega has the mitts. Actually, could just go directly. Okay, taking the scenic route.
Well, yeah, I had worked it in from the Pyramid Fairy.
So Pokedude being a little safe here, taking the eyeballs out at range, using sword spins, taking them out one at a time.
Yeah.
Trying to conserve some health.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but they do hit at 2s where even without the cape, you can take the 1 damage off the slime, and while you're invincible, be getting the spin off. So
keep in mind, Pokedude, has that red mail, and Pokedude when he made the decision to get the blue mail, it looks like that was something that he felt would be an item that would make the game more comfortable for him.
Yeah. I've been taking the hit here. And did not have fairies. Oh no.
No, and that's unfortunate too, because he had a bottle.
He had it equipped. Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's a long trek back in. It's for a crystal. It's a trip he has to make.
Yeah.
Saves and quits is just gonna leave it for later, I guess. Feeling probably a bit deflated after that.
Yeah, that's got to be a psychological decision, because there's very little equipment that he can get that'll make that fight easier other than the bow itself.
Right.
Unfortunately, the bow, yeah,
let's see what this green pendant is.
Bombs. So Pokedude at least knows that the bow can't be on Vitreous. So coming back there later, he knows he's going to have silvers, and it's going to have an easier fight. So that does make sense.
Yeah, if you have to make the trip one way or the other, it's not too hard to get to the front door, Meyer.
No, of course, he's also be just picking up some fairies here. Showing off yet another knowledge of fairy locations.
Yep.
So in the light world, that's fairies. In the dark world, it's a fortune teller, I guess.
Yep.
And he'll be turning his pendant in.
Yeah, looks like Mega's gonna go for. We'll see if they do Spike Cave before Turtle Rock.
I may be mistaken, but I don't believe there are any other places besides Turtle Rock and Spike Cave that are in logic at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the overworld that's been done.
I mean, they did both North and South Dark World. They did all of Dark and Light East Death Mountain. They've cleared the dungeons and pendants. Everything in Eastern and Pod is bow locked. So yeah, I think it's Spike Cave or Turtle Rock. Or Mimic Cave, but I count that as Turtle Rock.
Yeah, that's granted. Yeah, so we're likely going to see this drop in because back to this front door from Spike Cave. It would just be oh so juicy though, because it looks like Pokedude might go to Spike Cave first, based on their routing.
I don't know if the bow can't be here right now because they haven't picked up an invulnerability item. It could be there, but that would mean that the logic is requiring them to go into Turtle Rock to pick up the cape or the cane and then go to Spike Cave, logically. They can brute force it with potions. They have enough health. So if he does go to Spike Cave, which it looks like he's not, but if he did, that would be a sequence break.
Yeah, I know the potions count the bottles to some degree. Or I mean, those rooms count the bottles to some degree these days, because before the logic had been compensating for the one-hit KO mode, and I believe that had changed, but I could be mistaken. There goes a nice early big key in Turtle Rock, though.
I think you're right. I mean, initially the rules were no damage because they wanted to make the logic compatible for one-hit KO mode. I think currently it's that you can have the Cane of Burna, or you can have half magic and the cape, or you can have the cape and a bottle, but the bottle is there to give you the magic refill. I don't think it expects any scenario where you can brute force it purely with health. That's definitely a VTARP question, so I'm gonna have to pass on that one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Pokedude making their way into the Hookshot Cave. Chain Chomp, there's the bow. Alright. So Spike Cave, a non-issue. Now with that bow, we're gonna see Eastern, we're gonna see Pod, and then we're gonna see Ganon's Tower. And I guess we'll see Pod then Eastern just for mirror's sake. Yeah, so now he's making his way back up to Palace of Darkness, and we had seen so much of this dungeon, but not the big key. And now we won't even need to see the big chest, because once we get that big key, we're heading straight to that boss.
Yeah, it's possible that one or both of the runners, may continue to, Mega may be looking for, an armor upgrade or the fourth sword. But that's very improbable. Most likely, they'll be go moding the remaining dungeons.
Yeah, once you've got tempered and you've already got the silvers, it's usually pretty much a dash to the finish. Heck, they even have all the possible gotcha items for Ganon's Tower, the boots, the Cane of Samaria.
Pokedude is not far behind at all. Heading into Turtle Rock, and we saw that bow in the Chain Chomp room, so he's not going to have to spend much time in here at all.
Indeed, does still have to get through Ice Palace, but go mode, it's a pretty quick trick.
Yes, Pokedude's routing, it will pay off because while he has to do Ice Palace, he doesn't actually have to check anything in Ice Palace.
Yeah, and that's one of those ones that when you full clear it and when it doesn't have any progression, it feels bad to find out. So it'll be a much better experience for Poke as he'll be able to go mode.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but there were 3 items there, and Mega needed a lot. So it's it's a decision you make, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. And it didn't for him, but it doesn't mean it's a bad choice.
Yeah. Which now that I remind myself that ice was interesting to see Pokedude up here anyway. Perhaps just really wanted to go load that ice. I was really hoping for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, the red crystal can sometimes increase the appeal of a dungeon. Sometimes people just forget that it's the red crystal or don't notice it. Pyramid Fairy is an easy location to forget because it doesn't jump out at you. And the item density up here in Turtle Rock, you know, that may be enough to make Turtle Rock, you know, worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, we know it turns out to be a very good. So, all good stuff.
In this very next room, Pokedude is going to be rewarded for his choice.
Yeah, I like that hammer dash from MegaPatches, the final hallway here in House of Darkness. Took out those turtles all in one fell swoop and just gets right on through the door. Oh, don't take too many hits. Don't take too many hits, Pokedude. Right there. And you got it. Nice. All right, both these runners now in that go mode.
So
down goes MegaPatches Helmasaur.
Pokedude, interestingly, is not using the Cane of Samaria in a lot of locations that you typically see it. It makes me it's interesting, you know, given all the trouble that MegaPatches had with the Cane of Samaria.
I was gonna say he heard what happened to Mega.
Pokedude is just locked into never having to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's another crystal for MegaPatches now, making their way closer to this Ganon's Tower ascent. Got just a little bit of business to take care of in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, Pokedude has basically the same Eastern and Pod, you know, completion at this point. He isn't going to have a significant time difference there. He does have to go back and finish Mire, which is going to take a little bit of time, but he does have Silvers now and just has to kill the boss, so he's in a much better position than he was last attempt. I think, you know, it's a little bit hard to predict, but I guess that there's probably only going to be maybe a 7-minute difference going into GT at this point.
Seems about right. As long as Pokedude gets that Ice Palace done in one go, it should be close enough going into the end of this race. And seeing or tracing the steps now, basically. We know there can't be really all that much interesting left to find in the chest or even the item locations thrust upon our runners.
It's interesting. One of the items that neither runner has found yet is the blue boomerang. I only mention that because Pokedude mentioned earlier that of all of the items in the game he doesn't want to find the blue boomerang.
Well,
so
fish to the wish.
This is his dream seed.
Right.
So Mega killing those red Igors, one-shot Silver Arrows, no problem, and is gonna blow through this Armos fight.
Yep. Get an arrow upgrade for the trouble, seems fitting. And we're on to it. The climb to Ganon's Tower.
Pokedude bravely using the Cane of Samaria to push that button. There's a lot of courage involved in that item this game.
Yeah. If you're tuning in late, MegaPatches had invoked the soft lock, fighting blind by using his cane at just the wrong time to cause the crystal not to drop after his victory.
Yeah, someone's going to have to clip that and submit it to the highlight reel, because I've heard that bug mentioned many times, but I've never seen it. So we're very lucky as viewers to have the opportunity to see that.
Yeah. A spectacle, if nothing else. And just beginning the solemn climb, slaying the mini Moldorms. Pokedude's in the turtle room.
This game has so many of those potential bugs. You can go out of bounds in various locations as long as you save and quit or mirror to the beginning of the dungeon and restart and you don't achieve any progression from the incident, then the run continues to be valid. And thank God for the ability to do that, because this type of game with all the bugs, no one would ever be able to finish a race.
Yeah, it would be a shame to have lost an entire run to something like that. Yeah, Pokedude going to town on that mask as crystals open the way into the tower for MegaPatches.
So, not being a speed gaming channel, we don't do the official big key guessing game. But do you have any personal hope of where you want it to be, Uppy?
Let's give him a 1-2 punch to keep it moving.
Does that mean chest 1 or 2?
Small key chest 1, big key chest 2. That way you have the 1 key for the ascent already. But we got half of that combo and rupees in the other. How about you?
I always like to pick the randomizer room because the randomizer community is so wonderful. I just love the fact that we have our own little room named after ourselves.
Indeed, it's one of the spots that, it got its name because you generally only end up in there by either playing very casually or in randomizer because, well, you might find the big key. Plenty of small keys. I don't know what the exchange rate is on those. If he gets up to like 6, would he win himself a big key?
Well, only one more to go, and then we'll find out. Yeah, right. I like the randomizer.
Work that way.
Yeah, indeed. I like the randomizer room because it's really surprising the number of people that didn't even know that existed until randomizer.
Right. Yeah, it literally had no purpose, but there it is. I guess that's number...
it's 8, I think.
Yeah, seems right.
That general area.
Yeah, the fire bar room in either case. And so up the tower we go with a fistful of keys. We're not stopping for anything unless we have to. A couple of rooms to kill all the enemies in, and then it's on.
Yeah, continuing to utilize that powder and just keep his health topped off. Very efficient.
You want to take every precaution you can. In one way, you figure if you're at this time and your opponent hasn't finished, they're probably neck and neck with you. And if you think you need it, take the safety because you don't want to die and start over. Then you're out.
Absolutely. MegaPatches did very good positioning with those red mimics. The mimics is one of the neatest enemies because because it follows your own movements. Every runner has their own little variation on how they choose to fight those enemies.
Yeah, exactly right. And then there's ways to take advantage of just exactly how that's programmed, and it's as interesting to see the exploits people use, whether it's grabbing a barrier or using sword positioning and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's one of the few things that's completely unique, and there's really no one best, there's frame perfect rules obviously, but it's nice to see some variety.
Indeed. Well, first room of the gauntlet, cleaning up real nicely for MegaPatches, having a bit of trouble with the second, but gets it done with the pots. I think they had noticed their arrow count was getting low and had gotten a little less willing to fire. Well, that 7th crystal does come down for Pokedude, and so they're going to be coming in hot on the tail.
Well, Pokedude, unfortunately, has to still go back to Misery Mire and Ice Palace.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I didn't realize it. he was also missing.
Yeah, so still has a little ways to go, but did clear off Armos with no trouble at all.
Yeah.
We may see MegaPatches switch over to Fire Rod here, which we do. Trying to conserve some arrows, and Fire Rod with half magic burns through these Lambos very quickly. You get 16 Fire Rod shots, and you only need 6, so you've got magic to spare.
Yep.
And braver man than I is choosing to use the Cane of Samaria to fight the Withrooms.
There's no trouble in that room. Yeah, it's only he's got all the crystals now, so he doesn't have to worry about that anymore.
Yes, but does he know that?
Yeah, I will say, for all the things that have happened in this race, the only thing that's really missing is a Ganon's Tower despawn. But yeah, I'm certainly not wishing that on anyone.
Absolutely not. Both runners have had their share of technical issues. MegaPatches obviously with the crystal, but Pokedude lost time initially due to his local emulator setup. So they've had the trade-off going back and forth.
Yes, indeed. And MegaPatch is taking the fall off the walkway there. Gonna have to reset this room. Really not given the choice. And on he goes.
Those were the last 2 chests that I would have expected maybe we would have seen him pick up.
No, not with the temper. He's on. With 210 in, he wants to get this thing done. So it's just
it was a low maybe. Like a 10% maybe type.
Yeah. And putting Moldarm 2 away. Got that hook shot out, is ready to attach, and quite timely. Opens the last one just for kicks.
Well, that puts him into the 4-digit range on rupees.
Yeah. Solid lead on the rupees. You gotta have... No, you don't need the lead on rupees to win the game.
Well, all he's got left is Agatu fight, and then Ganon. He's Pokedude heading into Victorious at the moment. With Silvers, it's going to be a much different fight than his last attempt.
Indeed. And double off the first frame, blank on the second.
Good positioning for a triple, but
this is just a bit.
Yeah, it teleports a little too quickly.
And double off of that, I think we need just one more.
That sounds about right, and they line up right in a row.
Yeah, rock me Amadeus. There it goes.
Yeah, I get him. He's done. He doesn't even want to fight anymore.
Yeah, and you can see from Pokedude's side, we missed the Vitreous fight, but not for not paying attention. It just goes that quickly with those silver arrows.
Yeah, he definitely went into that fight wanting his revenge, and he got it.
Yeah. All right, so he's got Ice Palace yet.
He's got Ice Palace, but that's it. So he doesn't have too much to do. He's already done the longer dungeons, and going into Ganon here, we just got with Tempered Sword. It's 12 slashes or 6 spins for each of the first 2 phases, and then the 4 hits and 4 silvers. So he's very well equipped.
Yeah, and doing real nicely to get those hits in on him, bringing around the fire circle.
Ganon gives him excellent positioning. If you can get in the corner there and you get 3 spins, that's all you needed with the Tempered.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, doesn't get the 1 cycle on phase 2. But
he's got fairies though.
Ooh.
But yeah, you don't want to go getting too close on that.
MegaPatches has 3 bottles, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has 4 fairies.
Yeah, the way he's been rocking in this seed. Oh, he's back down to 1. I guess he's gonna fairy, so there's really nothing for him to dump.
Yeah, this is one of the few places where you will actually see the difference in the red, green, and blue mail.
Yeah, Ganon hits
significantly.
are hard enough to have a difference there.
Yeah, even blue mail, you know, you can be in this fight and saying, "Man, I wish I found red mail," but not enough to want to clear Aga's tower for.
These teleports, there we go. Got that last one in.
So is he gonna take the safety torch glitch or just go straight for arrows? Looks like he's taking the safety, which is it's a good play.
Yeah, you don't want to have to worry too much about managing your torches at this point.
He gets a double.
Yeah, he does. Isn't able to pull the double in the second one, having hit Ganon to the edge of the platform. But here we go.
Right there.
An extra one for good measure. Very nice.
He had 14 to spare. No trouble. Yeah, unfortunately, when you get him against the wall there, you can't hit him back any further.
Yeah, once he's there, the game has to take out the damage box because they don't want to process him being over the hole. But he crosses the bridge, and GG to MegaPatches finishes first place with a time of 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 32 seconds.
Congratulations to MegaPatches.
Yeah, he's going to continue to have a chance in this tournament, avoiding elimination by falling to 3 losses.
We'll see if MegaPatches wants to join us for a post-game interview. Meanwhile, Pokedude is making his way quickly through Ice Palace, and this is his last crystal before he heads up to Ganon's Tower.
Yes, indeed. All right, and
So
MegaPatches joins us now. Congratulations, GG.
Thank you. Hello, everybody.
hello, MegaPatches. Thank you for joining us this evening. Congratulations on your win and your progression to the 1-2 phase.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, your hopes are still alive in this tournament.
That's
and
good.
That is, yeah, great news for you.
That freaking bow.
Yeah, I was gonna say the crystal on blind, man.
Yeah, I was
best
like,
worst timing.
Yeah, I basically thought that you know, I'll go into the blind fight even though I'm low on hearts, single sword, you know, because he takes a certain amount of hits regardless of what weapon you have. And I had practiced that fight before and died, and I was like, okay, whatever. So I died again and again. And I'm like, all right, I need to stop dying. Maybe I should just leave. No, let me finish it. And then a glitch happens.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have shown my disdain with the cane because I think I spawned the sprite or something.
Yeah, that apparently is how that first time I've seen it. So
well, you weren't the only one who was surprised. We actually had to look up with people who know more than we do whether that was something you could recover from.
Yeah.
I was hoping so. I actually, when I first stepped back into the room and it didn't drop right away, I basically like heart sank. And then it dropped, and I was like, oh, okay, there it is.
Yeah.
We
were both terrified because right before you went back in there, you switched to the Cane of Samaria again.
Oh, yeah. I figured that it was a sprite glitch and that I should just not use it again at the end of the fight, so I figured I was still good to use it.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, man. But
yeah, quite the runaround on this one.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And actually those kind of seeds work better for me because I tend to run around a lot in the open world. And I was just hoping it wasn't in vain.
Right. Yeah, the your play out of Swamp Palace was turned out to be a prudent one. Your opponent ended up finishing it and finding nothing.
I was so scared about that because I was like, I should probably finish it because it's gotten me one time on a seed where I didn't finish a dungeon and that was the item I needed.
Right. Yeah, with the bow and the medallion at large at that point, we were on the edge of our seat to find out where those next couple of things would be.
Yeah, I figured it was easy enough to hop back in and quickly go back and to complete it if I hadn't, you know, checked. Like I was like, there's so many other places to check. I'm gonna opt for that first, and hopefully that saves me a little bit of time. And as the options narrowed down, I started getting scared.
Yeah, it definitely becomes a bit of a nail biter. But you know, you went for crystals, and that's a prudent thing to do, and that is the goal.
Yep.
Yeah, leaving Swamp Palace made me nervous because you were so close to the end there. But
I know.
The moment that made me tense up the most was when you almost saved and quit before getting ether.
I realized for a second, I was like, wait a minute, I meant to mirror, not save and quit.
Right.
So, but yeah, that was definitely a runaround seed. Was a lot of fun, and I'm looking at my tracker now. There's barely anything unchecked. So I'm not sure how my opponent did with the running around as well. Maybe we just took different routes, but yeah,
a little bit of different routes, but mostly just it's been a full. They're currently go moding. We're fighting Cold Stare now, so I think we'll give them their due as they unload on the ice block, which melts.
Gotcha. Yep.
And it doesn't quite get the trap in the corner, but it's still giving it everything I got all the same.
Yeah, I almost got the trap in the corner, but it just barely escaped from me last few hits. So
yeah, definitely a strong start on your Cold Stare fight too, and then you had half magic at the time too, so it's just like, all right, roast them out.
Half magic has definitely helped a lot in this, especially finding powder as well. So I was able to kind of throw out canes, throw out fire rods, not have to worry about having magic left for that powder. Because if you notice, I think my biggest weakness is deaths. Basically getting hit a lot and not managing my health. So it definitely helps to get that powder in Ice Palace.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Tier said at one point, if you had 3 bottles, you probably had 4 fairies.
Probably.
Yeah. Down goes Cold Stare.
There we go. All right. Well, is there any other questions you guys had?
No, I mean it was a runaround. Getting the mitts, getting the bow. Bow could have been anywhere, and you had no invulnerability items. But
yeah, I'm glad it wasn't on Laser Bridge.
But yeah, it's congratulations on pulling out the win and staying in the tournament.
Yeah,
so
thank
wish
you.
the
Thank you very much.
Best of luck in your future races.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
joining
it.
us.
Yeah, and thank you guys for letting me in here and letting me participate in this. I greatly
sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you got any other final word?
Guys, you don't realize what goes all into this sometimes, chat, and a lot of people put a lot of work into making this tournament happen, into making these restreams happen. We almost didn't have, as many commentaries as we did. So, thank you guys for stepping up and for making this happen, for making everything possible, and huge just shout outs to the admins and everybody who's doing this. You guys should go follow them all. They're all doing an amazing job.
Well, thanks, Patches, and thank you for participating in the tournament because, well, we wouldn't have races if there weren't racers.
Fair enough.
Thanks for putting on a show. Feel free to join Twitch chat and cheer on Pokedude as he finishes up, making his way up to Ganon's Tower right now.
All right. Well, good luck to him.
Yep. Peace, Patches.
All right. Bye-bye.
And he's making his way up now, going to warp into the Dark World.
So this is the slightly slower of the 2 Dark World access portals if you already have Turtle Rock open, but it's the only one where you never have to fight the dead rocks. So it's much more fun.
Well, not quite never, because he was just contending with them a bit.
Well, from this point forward is what I meant.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
That's all right. The big thing to me is he's got the boots tempered, which means he'll be able to get no problem. If you don't have at least tempered sword and you go to dash, you actually get stopped in your tracks on those guys, and it's just the worst.
Absolutely. So the key was left side, in the fire bar room. So he doesn't even need to go right side. There were lots of small keys.
Indeed. And with the fate of the race already decided, I wonder, I don't know Pokedude's habits, if we'll see him go right or left.
Yeah, maybe we'll see the upstairs chests get checked. You know, sometimes when you have a little extra time, you get a chance to see what it's in there.
Yeah.
It's always funny if, you know, like one of the last chests has the butter sword.
Right.
So going left, or maybe changing our mind. We are going on the right side.
Yeah, it started with the torch. Oh, yeah. Pulling out all the surprises. Going left, going right, opening the door, coming back.
We are seeing a very unique Gannon Tower route.
Indeed.
As long as he heads upstairs with one small key, then he'll have what he needs to complete everything, despite using a key on that door. And we know that there's a lot of keys in this room.
Yeah, there was it was like 3 of the 4?
Well, Mega had 5 when he left this room, so yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's only like 4 small keys in chests, and all of them were like in that room.
Yeah, actually, now you mention it. Oh.
Yeah, because one of the 5 was the one under the pot.
Indeed. And so he picks up that big key, and out he goes. Time to climb.
So he's got a very healthy inventory of silvers, and also full magic. So it's nice having the luxury of choosing between, do I want to slaughter these guys with silvers, or do I want to burn them down with fire rod?
Yeah, each of them has a associated delay, but for the overall firepower, I mean, you really can't pass up one of the options at least.
Yeah, Pokedude has no bad choices at this point.
Yeah, with the fate of this race decided, I mean, just have fun. And attempting to, take advantage of sword positioning.
Those mimics are a little bit tricky to move. You can grab onto the statue and continue to move, or you can get yourself positioned with your side against one of the walls, and to get them into an ideal position. So there's a couple options there.
Indeed. And Beamos certainly don't help the situation. There we go.
Yeah, that mimic room there is one of the few places that the mirror shield actually has significant value, because it does reflect those mimic shots.
Yeah, if I have the chance to pick up the mirror shield late in the game, it's usually a good thing to do.
I don't know if all the lag that it causes can make up for the the time it saves, but
yeah, it's true. It looks like let's make sure this trip gets done in one go. So they're gonna check out the safety room. This room here, if you didn't know, is the reason why bonking is in the logic, because this is the only way to get to this room.
Yeah, and this is the only indication that the original developers ever intended you to be able to bonk across gaps. You see it in Misery Mire, but you think that the hook shot is the intended way to get across there. Until, of course, you see that location that you have to bonk.
Indeed. I know it took me probably well into my teen years to do in that room.
It's definitely worth pointing out at this point that Pokedude never picked up the powder. So that safety room was his last chance to pick up fairies.
Yeah, that is correct. And dealing with this dreaded 4th gauntlet room.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that the guy who leaves the keys under pots is also the guy who puts BMOSs on conveyor belts.
Yeah, one of those decisions is a lot more. I'm just glad he didn't decide to do it more often.
Yeah, as long as Pokedude successfully completes Aga 2 without dying, he can mirror and he can go buy more potions. He can collect more fairies. Lots of options at that point. But within the dungeon, that safety room is your last option without powder, which is what makes powder such a great safety item. Pokedude just standing there like a boss, letting those fireballs bounce right off his fire shield.
Indeed, and there we go. Down goes Moldorm. Yeah, Landmola too.
Those the fireballs off those Medusas, even with the fire shield, they tend to hit you a lot more often than you'd expect. It's very, very weird hitbox.
Yeah, the positioning is key there. One of the things about this game is very akin to Zelda 1.
I love what Pokedude did there. Put the Samaria block down on the conveyor belt and was pushing it up to keep it in place. That was amazing.
Yeah, just a little bit off on the fire, but the right idea.
Well, with half magic, he's able to use fire rod shots in this room to light all the torches and save the menu transition from lamp to fire rod. It's one of the nicest things about half magic, I think, is the fire rod shots.
Yeah, basically not having to worry about the lamp anymore.
And successfully does not despawn the dungeon.
Indeed. It's gonna show us what's in the box here.
Always appreciated.
Yeah, the 10 bomb drop.
That's a brand new item, unique to version 29, the 10 bomb pack.
Yep.
So it's so this is where it's been hiding.
You're gonna make their way in from this angle to avoid the. Oh, there's Quake.
Quake.
So we did find all 3 medallions in all. Each of our runners selecting 2.
Yeah, I guess I didn't notice it, but I guess Pokedude never picked up Ether, knowing that by the time he got up there, he knew Bombos was both of the dungeons.
Indeed. Taking the fall here to Moldorm 2. Hopefully gonna get the revenge they seek now. It's a 1. And oh.
Yeah, sometimes he can just turn at the last minute, and it's impossible to avoid.
There you go, using that sword to make sure they stay on the platform. As long as you're sword out and away from the platform, you will stay on.
Yeah, just like the Moldorm 1 fight, you can use the sword and stay on the platform, but there's so many more angles on this one though.
Yeah, this gets a little bit tricky.
Having the boots, I keep calling him Pokedash. If you're watching the VOD, I sincerely apologize. I don't know why I'm doing it, Pokedude. I apologize. I don't know what else to say.
That's all right, man.
But what I was going to say that in that case was that dashing is one of the safe strategies you can use on Moldorm too. You can dash through him, and it'll I think it causes tempered sword damage. So you only need a couple dashes.
Yeah. Gonna use the potion here. Mini Helmas and the bouncers are getting the best of him.
Yeah, little trouble with those mini Helmas. He had the hook shot out, and you can stun them with the hook shot.
Yeah, this definitely is a heck of a room, like, of any challenges before the Aga fight.
Yeah, you just finished Moldorm 2. You're gonna fight 3 times the Aga that you fought last time, and they give you 5 mini Helmas on ice
and spikes and bouncers. Oh my!
Why?
Well, don't want to make the Aga fight too easy.
I'm surprised anybody ever enters this fight with more than 2 hearts.
Yeah, it seems like one of these rooms, the longer you're in there.
So, good setup there. Almost got the double, slightly off, but
well, there was a nice trip.
Perfect lineup.
Counted. Yeah, that was that finishing frame for MegaPatches earlier.
Yeah, I think Aghanim had some iframe there, which prevented the triple from hitting. So it was either a single or a double it counted as. But finishing him off, and I think it was 2 phases longer.
Yep, and we're on to the Ganon fight. Got that temper, got those silver arrows. Should be pretty much a done deal.
It's what you pointed out just now. Epi is a good note that the randomness is the same for both runners, for Aga and for Ganon. So those patterns, it is kept fair by keeping it the same.
Right. All of your first patterns on your bosses will match. If you have to take a second go, well, then it's up to the RNG.
Absolutely. But that's the best you can get from something that's called Randomizer.
Yeah. And speaking of, we'll have to see. Will not make it up to this corner, but is gonna do just about as good a job as MegaPatches. Sure to take full advantage of the time and get slashing.
Absolutely, missing out on that corner. It's not ideal, but with tempered and only needing a few more slashes, it's not a game ender.
Ooh,
that on the other hand is.
There is. All right, could not remember.
So I know he's down 1 fairy and 1 potion. Wow.
And has a fairy and a potion yet. All right.
So he actually has 4 bottles, not 3. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Oh boy. Taking a knockback into Ganon off that fire. Thank goodness for iframe. Very quick death. As we're into phase 3.
Once you're into phase 3, it's much safer. It's basically done at that point, unless you accidentally fall.
Yeah, you basically at this point got to manage your knockback and do your best to get in on this before Ganon makes his leap, because if you're late, you will eat fire.
Well, it looks like Pokedude, and I said dude, not dash that time, is going. Was trying to go for the quick kill. He had silvers out instead of the lamp, but got hit by that fire bat.
Yeah, he's serving him up.
Gotta be careful here when he lights this lamp, doesn't get knocked off. Fortunately, Ganon is on the other side of the screen.
All right, gonna use that fairy. Do not be alarmed.
All right, we are down to 1 blue potion.
Yep, and there is hit number 3, and a nice lineup for this last hit. Let's get it. Yeah.
Ganon dead and a blue potion to spare.
Indeed. Hold up that sword in triumph.
So looking back in hindsight, Pokedude, he was the best judge of his abilities, and that red mail ended up making the difference for him. So that was very, very, very good time well spent.
Yeah, I will say that probably his delays due him to the trip dag and the time spent futzing with the emulator, which was unfortunate.
Yeah,
but GG all the same, because, well,
Yeah, a few unfortunate deaths early on, but congratulations, Pokedude! Official Speed Racing TV time of 2 hours 38 minutes and 50 seconds.
And chat showing the love, very nice. Yeah, so all in all, certainly a run around. We've had a couple of spectacles in terms of glitches and routes and decisions. We've got one of our runners unfortunately falling to 0-3. Another staying alive at 1-2.
Unfortunate, but 512 runners in the tournament, only 108 or so move on to the next phase, so it's inevitable.
Indeed.
Joined here with Pokedude joining the commentary channel. Welcome, Pokedude. Congratulations on finishing that. It was a very run-around seed.
We had just a flash of activity going on, and
so it looks like we don't have Pokedude, unfortunately.
yeah, it looks like we'll be stuck on a tech difficulty, so
That's
we'll
fine.
let that one pass. We do thank you for joining us, chat, and sticking out for the race, seeing both of our runners finish. If you enjoyed the race, do give them a follow. Thank you again to Ms. Metroid for tracking, and to our restreamer, Chloe Prower. Also to my co-commentator, Tiru, for joining me for this. A lot of fun. And, yeah, let's see what we got on the schedule. There are plenty of races, but perhaps fewer restreams.
My thank you, of course, to Epi as well. It was, so it was a fun race. There are 6 speed gaming channels and 4 ALTTP randomizer channels, and there are 15 to 20 matches every day during most of the daylight Eastern time hours. So take a look at the channels. This is a long tournament. There's over 2,000 races throughout the tournament. There's plenty of randomizer, but most importantly, randomizer is free. So if you like what you see, in addition to following the runners, give it a try for yourself. It's a lot of fun. And it's a very welcoming community.
Yes, indeed. And if you're looking for more Rando tonight, you want to check out Speed Gaming 2. Is Meekan versus Desert Eagle 417 should still be in progress. Also, Pika Pals versus Fant got started just a while ago on Speed Gaming 3 at 10:30 on ALTTP Randomizer 1. Sage Lord 38 and Invictus are facing off. I think that might be it for restreams for the night, but and one more at 11:30. Song Leaves versus Bent Glass Tube on Speed Gaming 1. So, yeah, if you want more Rando, we've got it. Thanks again for joining in. I'll give Tiru the last word.
That pretty much does it for me.
All right.
Congratulations to our runners. Thanks for putting on the show, and the viewers for tuning in. Everybody have a good night and enjoy your Rando.
Good night, everybody.